welcome to the Marathon 85 album review for the week. And with us once again is John. How you doing, John?
Good. Yourself?
Good, good, thanks. And of course, we got Tim with us. How you doing, Tim?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Excellent. Okay, so this week we are reviewing albums that were on our turntable from 1980 to 1984. Wow, big years in the music business. And let's start with John. What was on the turntable or in the cassette player back in 80 to 84?
Or even the 8-track. Moving Pictures, which is pretty obvious. That one lived. Once that came out, it just blew my mind. Just one of my favorite albums of all time still.
For sure.
Theater by Styx.
Yeah, Styx. They were big.
Big album too, and they were popular, and I could play easy along with Styx, not so much with Rush at the time.
That was a pretty big album for Rush, that's for sure, right? Any favorite track stick out, of course?
Oh, Tom Sawyer.
Yeah, it's got to be.
Yeah. All the tracks are great. Like even the Camera Eye, which is like 10 minutes long. Great piece of music.
Yeah,
it is.
And I saw him play it once, and it's just like it just takes you away. Just takes you for a ride, like Red Barchetta obviously takes you for a ride.
Yes,
but even the Camera Eye and Vital Signs and all that, it's just the perfect album. Perfect.
Yeah.
The
Styx
drumming
were
was
big
amazing.
back then, eh, John? Styx, they were big, eh? They were really big back then.
They were huge.
Yeah,
they were absolutely huge. And Paradise Theater was just too much time on my hands. Just a great album.
Yeah.
And the drumming was, I could follow along because I just started learning how to play drums, and okay, I can play this.
Yep. Yeah, that you can't argue with either of those two albums, that's for sure. What about you, Tim? What were you playing back in 80 to 84?
Well, I had just was pretty new guitars, a couple of years or so, and of course the same thing. You can't help but notice that Moving Pictures. That was, and all the tracks too. That was the same thing. You can't help it. The flavor of that album was so different from Permanent Waves. It's it's like a totally different book. The whole story of the album was just so, and like you say, the tracks that stood out to me, of course, Camera Eye, but Tom Sawyer, it's key to what was in. It's in like a Mixolydian, E-Mixolydian. That's probably why it has such that sound that it does. But
yeah,
that one, and then, gosh, from there to 84, there are so many albums.
There are.
Holy. I'm trying to think. I can't really get my mind around one. I just know the sound was the new wave sound at the time. I guess the Police, I really love the Police, and U2,
Yep. Yeah, they were just making their name.
Because I really like the Edge's style, with using the delay with real effect that way. So, yeah, it was really thick with a lot of. It's a really busy time for everything. That's what I liked about it.
Oh yeah, for sure.
As much as we have the social media today, back then there was still a lot of activity.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I had a couple tough choices. You can't go wrong with your choices there. That's for sure. Rush was big. So for me, one of the first albums of 1980, and it was a tough choice because there were a lot of great albums. But the one for me was this guy right here, AC/DC, Back in Black. It was so huge. And really, at the end of the day, I looked at those songs. Not a bad song on the record or on the album or cassette CD. No. And it was so big in 1980, 81. It just was huge. Back in Black, obviously, Hell's Bells. You Shook Me All Night Long it's still a staple on FM radio today. They still play a lot of those songs today. So that was first one. And I'll tell you that for 1980, obviously Black Sabbath was such they were in a little bit of trouble, but they really recovered well because they brought Ronnie James Dio in. Ozzy went solo, so you wound up getting two great albums in 1980 and 81. So, but the other one for me, a little bit later came, which I know John's not the biggest fan, but it was Motley Crue, Shout at the Devil. That was on the turntable for probably 6 straight months. It was It was such a big album. The videos that followed up were huge on Much Music in Canada when they just launched. Toronto Rocks. Again, for the most part, really not too many bad songs, but it was huge. It was a big, big album. I know John is just sitting there going, "Oh man."
I was with you right up into Motley Crue.
Yeah, I know. But those were two big albums, and again, there were so many other bands that were big. I mean, Rush, even after 1980, I mean, Rush did at least one or two more albums by 1984.
Yes.
They were huge. Rush was huge. Styx was huge. I mean, there were so many. There were so many bands, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Tom Petty too. Actually, I remember because I was in Vancouver in '81 when that album his came out, The Waiting, or that one. Because I was in the record store when I heard Rush was going to be doing another. In the interview, instead of going to a live album after Permanent Waves, they decided Neil wanted to do another studio album, and that's why we got Moving Pictures after that. Otherwise, it would have been a live album. And then they did the Thanks to Stage Left and then Signals.
Yeah.
So,
well, it was a great time in music, that's for sure. But we better wrap this one up, gentlemen. Again, thanks for joining us, and we'll do it again next week. All right, take care.
All right, gentlemen.
Bye.
Take care.